Let's head back to Edinburgh. We're expecting a fly past any minute now by the Red Arrows after King Charles received the Scottish Crown Jewels during a service of dedication in the city's cathedral. Our royal correspondent, Laura Bundock, is in Edinburgh alongside the former Garrison Sergeant Major at Edinburgh Castle, Warrant Officer Class 1, Anthony Gibson. Laura, of course, the fly past on the day of the coronation back in May was disrupted, wasn't it, because of the weather? It was cut back somewhat. How are things looking today? Judging by that beautiful shot of Edinburgh, the weather's looking pretty good.
Much better. In fact, if it was this time yesterday, I can tell you that some flights weren't even allowed to land at Edinburgh Airport because the cloud cover was so low. But today, the sky is much clearer. A beautiful afternoon in Edinburgh, in fact, as we await the arrival of the Red Arrows. You're right, the Red Arrows simply couldn't take part, and we saw the resumption of what was meant to be the big fly past and the coronation taking place at Trooping the Colour a couple of weekends ago. But I think looking up at the sky, there's no reason why they won't be taking part today. And of course, quite a finale, isn't it, Anthony, to what's been this enormous day of sort of military organisation and display?
Yes. Most parades ending with the Royal Air Force and the Red Arrows flying over really puts the icing on the cake to any type of parade. So everyone will be looking forward to the skies and watching for that red, white and blue flying over the top, and it really will be, as I said, the icing on the cake.
Is there a sense, though, that the Red Arrows always come along right at the end? You see them for a couple of seconds and then they're gone, and that's their job done. Whereas we know these troops have been here for days and days. They've been having really late rehearsals in sort of specially built gyms and the like to get all this precision. Is there a sense that they not steal their thunder, if you like, but they're not just the icing on the cake, they're sort of detracting perhaps from the huge amount of preparation everyone else has put in?
I think it's just the end of that military spectacle. I don't think it is lost on everybody about the amount of work that goes in. There might be that jovial banter between the forces, but that's always going to be the case. I'd love to see that sky painted red, white and blue as well. So.
And we know now that the King will be in the gardens here, the weather favourable enough for him to be outside to watch it as well. And given his background, he will appreciate and he knows that the effort that has gone into all of today.
Yes, most certainly. He will be 100% happy with what he's seen from his armed forces on parade, and he'll be really grateful for the effort that has been put in. It won't be lost on him. It will have been communicated exactly how many days preparation these soldiers have been doing, and that will be communicated to him through 51 Brigade, who are in command here in Scotland, and the various senior chiefs of the services here in Scotland.
Remind me of the numbers involved. What have we seen? What have we witnessed today?
So all up, there's about 350 personnel on parade with regards to the amount of horses. So you've seen close to 125 horses or so from the Household Cavalry and the Blues and Royals.
And they've come from London?
And they have come from the south, yes. So one unit from Hounslow and the other from Knightsbridge. So they've dedicated a lot of personal time having to arrange. The horses are actually in temporary stabling within Redford Barracks here in Edinburgh, and there's a lot of work and a lot of people in the background facilitating those movements, and they are the unsung heroes of those parades as well.
And despite that contingent coming from London, there was a very distinctive Scottish feel to it all today. The pipers, some of the troops we've seen taking part too.
Most definitely. This is Edinburgh. This is Scotland, and to have the kilted soldier on parade is an absolute must. Those supporting armed forces that aren't in kilts are, you know, equally as Scottish, but the kilts and the bagpipes and the Highland attire of the various units out there do really steal the show, and as it should be.
And to what extent? I mean, you organise, not just today, but you were very, very closely involved in the organisation, the Queen's funeral, certainly the Scottish aspect of it all. Mm-hmm. Do you feel a sense of completion now?
Yes, the full circle has come about from my arrival during the pandemic to receiving Her Majesty for the first time, and then obviously the sad case of her passing while she was here, and the situation where the soldiers that were predominantly involved in all of those parades are getting to see His Majesty the King on parade for the first time, receiving the honours of Scotland, and it is really a case of a fresh start with the monarch and the armed forces here in Scotland.
Tell me again how closely involved the King has been with what's taken place.
So, not too long ago, about a month ago, the Lord Lion, Dr. Joseph Morrow, QC, went down to London where he fielded this plan written by 51 Brigade, and he overall gave the thumbs up to say, let's go, let's do it. And there has been a few changes along the way in that time since that acknowledgement.
What changes? What have we seen? What did the King want changing?
It's not so much what the King wanted changed. It's little things. The inclusion of the youth pipe band, for instance, within Edinburgh Castle, escorting the honours from Crown Square through and over the drawbridge on Edinburgh Castle Esplanade. The ergonomics of what the visual would look like in regards to the tattoo stands in place at Edinburgh Castle didn't give us the full visual, and we only got to see action from Castle Hill down to West Parliament Square. So little things like that made the Army's preparation, Police Scotland's preparation slightly more harder in regards to it affecting things like the transporting and how to close the routes, etc. So minimal impact basically to the city as best possible.
And tell me about the planning involving the 2 protest pens as well.
So that was part and parcel.
You can just see the King there coming out, I'm assuming, making his way out because the planes will be arriving soon as well. Just briefly on those protests, presumably that was taken into account as well.
Yeah, most definitely. It was one of the things that Scott government mentioned when we were in communications with them and all the various teams meetings that took place. It was something that everyone was conscious that had to take place, and you know, freedom of speech is there for everybody, and yeah.
And there we can see there the Duke and Duchess of Rothesay, as William and Kate are known in Scotland, as the planes approach.
Coming over this way, that's grand.
Well, spectators treated to a Red Arrows display going over the Royal Mile, past the Palace of Holyrood House and Edinburgh Castle. Just look at that. It's very quick, Laura, isn't it?
Doesn't last long, but it certainly has an impact. Oh, you were talking about that being the icing on the cake, Anthony.
It is the icing on the cake, and that is ultimately the signal for all troops on parade to now, one, give the final royal salute to His Majesty and the Royal Highnesses on parade, and then they leave parade.
There we go, a little wave from the King there. A little wave that probably says a lot. This has been a big day for him and a huge day in the planning as well. And as he slips back inside the palace, a big sigh of relief, Anthony, from everyone who's helped make the day.
Yes, most definitely. Within headquarters now, they'll be happy to see His Majesty step into the Palace of Holyrood, and there'll be multiple conversations about returning all of the troops and horses and anybody else on parade via the different concentration areas that they'll go to. So Edinburgh Castle and Johnson Terrace here at the broad pavement at Holyrood, and it'll be about returning everybody, all kit and equipment, safely back to Redford Barracks.
And for the individuals, right down to their personal experience, how will they be feeling right now?
really proud. If I could be on that parade, I know I'd be immensely proud. Whichever part I took part in, whether I be at West Parliament Square or here at the Palace, I would be chuffed to the bits. I would be seriously impressed.
Anthony Gibson, former Garrison Sergeant Major in Scotland, who helped organise today. Thank you very much. Back to you.
Laura, thank you very much. The formalities over as we look at the heart of Edinburgh there. King Charles having received the honours of Scotland, those crown jewels in a service of thanksgiving. Pomp, pageantry and prayer taking place in Edinburgh, following on from the coronation in May. Let's take a look at some of the day's other news now.